It seems that Nintendo's stock market prices have taken a substantial hit. But instead of riding this pretty sensational wave I've got going here, I don't want to get anyone freaked out or anything. This is not just a Nintendo thing, and it's not necessarily related to anything that the company is doing. This whole situation has been outlined by one Dr. Serkan Toto, who is CEO of industry consultancy at Kantan Games. And it seems that this has been kicked off because people are worried that the US is about to go into a recession. And the funny thing about the stock market, it's all kind of baloney. You know, it's all, he says it himself, like investors, they go by vibes. They don't always necessarily go by like numbers or logic. They go by vibes. And so this vibe has been starting to go around that the US might go into a recession, and that gets everybody panicking. And if you start selling your shares, then that freaks everybody else out and they start selling their shares, and then prices start to drop. And it's just the way he puts it, it's a bloodbath. It's a bloodbath of the stock market prices. Nintendo is sitting near the top of the list as far as gaming companies in Japan who have been hit by this at 15%. 15% is staggering, especially considering how huge the company is. How, you know, like 15%, 10 years ago, that would have been nothing. But now, like at the height of the Switch generation, they're making more money than ever between their games and Nintendo World and the Mario movie and all that stuff. 15% is crazy. But then you've got others too. Capcom, they've lost 16% of their value. Sega, 13%. Other notable ones that I recognize: Konami, 8%. Sony, 6%. Marvelous, 10%. Koei Tecmo, 6%. Square Enix getting off easy at 5%. I don't know. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did to deserve a measly 5% off. And I do think that is interesting. I mean, I know that the U.S. is a fairly sizable market, but just the idea that we might go into a recession has caused this. And on that note, I know very, very little about economics, any of this stuff. But the way I've been seeing it explained is like that doesn't necessarily mean like, a humongous recession. We have these dips and rises, and there's like a specific, I can't remember what it is. There's a specific definition for like what a recession is, and it's just such amount of time with such amount of negative growth or something like that. I'm really not sure. It doesn't necessarily mean we're headed for disaster at the moment. We might be. We might be, I'm sure companies are all looking for another great opportunity for being like, everyone's money is worth less. Let's raise prices more. So it hurts them doubly, but I'm not going to get into the politics there. Paying $1 per apple up here in Washington. So because all of this is going by vibes, that means that things could normalize pretty soon. I mean, I don't know. You never really know how these things are going to go, but it is possible that, things will more or less be back to normal eventually. I will say though, golly, 15% off. I mean, 15% off. It's like a discount. Shares are now 15% off for a limited time. 15%. If I were a betting man, if I were interested in getting into the whole stock market thing, golly, this seems like a good time to buy shares in Nintendo, doesn't it? It really, really does. Their shares are so valuable that 15%, that's a lot. Even if you bought now and it normalized, that's a pretty good amount of profit. And also consider that, of course, Switch sales are flagging, but Switch 2 is coming next year. So it kind of just depends on what's going to happen. It is possible that Nintendo will reveal a Switch 2 and it will boost them into the stratosphere. It'll get everyone going crazy. They'll reveal some really just particular games that just get us all so absurdly hyped, and it launches and it makes $1 trillion. And if that happens, then this you buy at the dip, 15% down. that's a good time to buy. I mean, the best time to buy would have been around the Wii U time. I mean, nobody could have anticipated that I mean, even if the Switch was a success, I don't think anyone could have anticipated it being this much of a success. If you bought shares back in the Wii U times, like you'd make your money back several times over. So like, I don't know if they just kind of keep going up or if they coast around here, they just maintain this level of value. It could be that this is like one of the last good opportunities to get in on it, because then the Switch 2 could take them even higher. But at the same time, it might not. There is a perfectly fine chance that the Switch 2 will be a very good success, but not necessarily a crazy success. You know, Switch 1 ends up selling 150 million or whatever. Switch 2 could sell 100, 80. That would still be a good success. Nintendo would still make billions and billions and billions of dollars, but that means that their company would not be quite as valuable. You cannot assume it's just going to keep going up. You've got to reach a ceiling eventually. There's only so profitable that a company like this can be. And so it could be that we're at the ceiling right now, and this dip right here could be you buy here, and then Switch 2 comes out, and it goes down, and you just kind of lose your money. So that's why I'm not a betting man. It's not in my blood. I'm not going to do that. But I suppose it could be an interesting opportunity for anyone who is into betting on this horrendously volatile and unpredictable stock market. I mean, if that's your thing, you do you, I guess. And you know, it's not so bad. I've got the graph open right now. It's really, you just search like Nintendo stock prices and you get a great little graph. It's not so bad. This is not the lowest that they've been in a long time. In fact, throughout a lot of 2022 and 2023, they were lower than this, you know, back in before the pandemic. They were even lower, but then the pandemic, they went up, and then they kind of normalized after that. Things have been kind of boosted over this last like half a year or something. I think it's more just how quick the drop was. It's more just that it's a bit of a dramatic fall, a dramatic dip in the graph. And it could be that even by the time I publish this, it will have normalized somewhat, you know? It could be by tomorrow, it's back up again. You don't really know. It's all just silly. It's all just whatever. It's nonsense. I will be very, very curious to see the numbers this time next year, though. I mean, a year from now, who even knows where Nintendo's gonna be at? Maybe I'll be kicking myself I didn't buy at the dip.